Hi everyone, I'm Nikki, a marketing data and return on investment consultant. Today I'm going to be walking you through a new website that I found that was launched by AppsFlyer. It's a benchmark and trends website, and I feel this is going to be really valuable for app marketers, especially those in emerging markets. I found a lot of interesting data for countries such as Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya. And so I will be taking you through what I found, how I navigated it, and the insights that I thought were very interesting. And hopefully by the end of the video, you will know how to use the website. So let's have a look at the new website. Here we are on the App Marketing Performance Benchmarks and Trends website from AppsFlyer. Some context about the website. It's a site for marketing leaders, for user acquisition managers, and the purpose of it is to provide them with data and insights to ensure that the long-term investment decisions that they're making are informed and backed by relevant and accurate data. I must say, looking at the website and diving into some of the stats, I definitely found it valuable. So I'm going to run through the site, show you how to use the information and the data that you're getting back from it from a strategic perspective. And hopefully by the end of the video, you will know how to navigate it and you'll be able to use the insights that you gain to optimize your app strategies. Cool, so let's get started. So one thing to note is the rich filtering that they have. You can filter by category. So you can see you've got gaming, finance, shopping, and more. Anything from travel to sports to lifestyle, etc. you can dive into. Once you've chosen a category, you can then select additional categories within that overarching theme or category. And then you can let's have a look here. If we choose action, you can then filter down into subcategory within that. So for gaming, if you've chosen action gaming, your subcategory can be fighting, runner, stealth, any of those. And then you can also just choose that. You can choose country or region. So there's a list of countries here. And then you can just choose channel. So let's just go global. And so you've got an option of overall stats, organic stats, paid, and then it breaks it down even further into social, ad networks, etc. Just one thing to note is that not all countries have the same level of data. It's down to statistical significance and availability of data. So when you are navigating the site, just bear that in mind. So I'm going to look at the finance category because I have a history and a lot of experience in marketing finance apps. So I'm going to choose finance overall because the apps that I generally marketed was an all-in-one. All the solutions and services were in one app. But if you are, say, a investment company, you would choose investment as a category, and then you would go down into subcategories. So I'm going to choose finance overall and then select the subcategory. I'm going to look at Nigeria, and we're going to look at overall so I can show you what the stats and data looks like. And then you click get data. So another thing to highlight is the depth of data. The amount of data over time is exceptionally valuable. The reason for that is the more data you have over a period of time, the better stories you can tell with that data. Being a data storyteller myself, I find that very valuable. What we have here, once we've now filtered, is the finance overall trends in Nigeria. You can see there are quite a few graphs. So the first one we have is user acquisition ad spend. The second is remarketing ad spend, overall installs, organic installs, paid installs, remarketing, conversions, earned media conversions, and sessions. So quite a bit of data for Nigeria. As I mentioned before, not all countries have this level of data, unfortunately, but it is based on volume, and hopefully with more volume will come the data. I want to focus now on two graphs, being the spend graphs, one being user acquisition, one being remarketing. So when we look at the user acquisition spend, it's very clear to see that it has taken quite a steep decline since Q2 2023. From then to Q1 2025, user acquisition spend has been decreasing. When we look at remarketing ad spend, you can see that it has been fluctuating since Q3 2023 and peaking in Q1 2025. So when I look at these two graphs, what it's telling me for an industry or category as a whole, it's focusing less on volume and installs and pivoting to a retention strategy. So remarketing, trying to get customers to come to the app more, buy more, use it more, because a retention strategy is just as important as an acquisition strategy. You can bring in as many users or you can get as many installs as you want to, but if those customers are not using your app, they're not purchasing, they're not performing the action that you want them to perform, then you have essentially spent a lot of money on bringing the volume in, but you're not getting a valuable customer out of that volume. So what I'm seeing with these two graphs, there is a shift in the strategy for Nigeria, which is from a volume-based to a value-based strategy. And that's just looking at two graphs in the finance sector. Here we have some retention data when it comes to the finance category in Nigeria. And for those of you who are not familiar with retention in app marketing, retention is a metric that measures the percentage of users who continue to use your app over time. So here you can see that we've got on day 1 of installing or opening the app, then after 7 days, and then after 30 days. What you can also see here on the graph is that in Nigeria, you're able to choose between small, medium, and large apps, which is really cool filtering option, especially if you are comparing yourself to a smaller app category. You can see that it is also split by iOS and Android. And we look at the average benchmark for day 1 retention in Nigeria over the finance category. The average is around 23%, which is in line with industry benchmarks. Then when we look at day 7, we're seeing around an average of 8% retention rate. Retention on day 7 and day 30 are a lot lower. So here we've got an average of 8% on day 7. On day retention, day 30, we've got a 3% retention rate. These are all in line with global averages. How you can use this information is understanding where you are in terms of global benchmarks, where you are for your category benchmark, your country category, and then what your stats look like. So for instance, if you're seeing a 10% 7-day retention rate, then you're higher than the average and you're doing well. But if you're seeing a 5% 7-day retention rate, then you know that there's a change that needs to be made. And that is the value of having this information, is to be able to benchmark against global, benchmark against your own country category, and then be able to understand where you're winning and where you need to make changes. Okay, so now we have a look at split by media type. It's saying the data in the section displays a percentage breakdown between media types over time based on the selected metric. And as we can see here, that the only time that we currently have for this split is Q1 2025. Here we have got country split by subcategory showing between iOS and Android. And again, it's by the different categories. So what does it look like globally by user acquisition spend, remarketing spend, what do overall installs look like, organic install percentages. And this graph is basically just telling you that what is the percentage share of the market that these countries have in this specific metric. So there you have it. That's the view of Nigeria in the finance sector, the different types of metrics you can see, and how you can use the insights to enhance your strategy, to optimize your spend. And you can use this information to make better decisions when it comes to your app marketing, to make sure that you are not sitting below the benchmark percentage, and also what you're doing right. Maybe you are exceeding the average benchmark for, say, retention, which is great. And you know you're doing something well and you can continue doing what you are doing, or whether or not you need to change your strategy and focus in different areas. And that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to filter by, many categories. I just want to give you an example, though, of what I mentioned previously when it comes to a bit of limited data. So with Nigeria, we had a user acquisition spend view and we had a remarketing spend view. With South Africa, we don't have the same data. If you're going into the site and you're looking at different countries and different categories and subcategories, just be aware that not all of them have exactly the same data. Another thing I just want to note on the graph is that there is little information icons that you can click on if you're not sure what the measurement methodology was or what the metric is all about. So you can click on it and it'll tell you what you need to know. And if you need to dive a bit deeper, we can visit the frequently asked questions. The nice thing as well that is you can get notified if there is new data and insights that are added. Just say yes and can subscribe. Pop your email address in there. And there you have it. This is the AppsFlyer's new benchmarks and trends website. I found a lot of value running through it. I got a lot of insight from it, things that I could definitely use in my strategies. And if you want to go into the site and play around, please use the link in the description. I am definitely going to dive a bit deeper into some of the stats. Overall, I think this is a great tool to add to your strategic toolbox when it comes to your app marketing. I'd love to hear your thoughts of what you think of the website. So pop the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe or share with anyone who you think would find value from this video. Thanks again for watching and catch you next time.